The original Space Jam was one of my favorite childhood movies, so when I heard there was going to be a Space Jam 2, I was like,
stop it. Get some help.
in this video we'll be going over some of the biggest differences between the original Space Jam 1996 and Space Jam: A New Legacy, and there is a ton of controversy revolving around some of these differences, from Lola Bunny's new look to the removal of Pepe Le Pew. We'll get into that, plus dozens of other cool Easter eggs, and hopefully by the end of this video we'll see which Space Jam is superior. I want to know what your favorite is in the comments below, but before we begin, make sure to slam dunk that like and subscribe button. Seriously, only 3% of you are subscribed. And stick around for the answer to a bonus trivia question. Can you name the only actor to be a part of both the original and New Legacy? The answer to this at the end. Other than New Legacy being a half hour longer than the original, both versions start with a flashback of our main characters playing basketball as kids. In fact, New Legacy shoots the flashback scenes in film rather than digital to make it feel closer to the original. The kid versions of our protagonists are shown with their parents. In New Legacy, it's the mother, and Space Jam the father, but it's New Legacy that really takes off and makes family an integral part of the plot, even incorporating LeBron's son Dom heavily into the story. In Space Jam, Michael Jordan shows up and mentions his family once. It's pretty hilarious. I should also mention that the actors portraying LeBron's family are not his real family. In fact, the names of his wife and kids have been changed. The events of Space Jam take place around 1996, which is 2 years before young LeBron James plays the Bugs Bunny Game Boy game as a child. That being said, the main events of New Legacy take place in present day, and the plot takes advantage of this by structuring both the villain and the story around a futuristic server owned by Warner Brothers. Did Warner Brothers really just make a movie where Warner Brothers is the villain? Great, I'm gonna get copyright strike. The introduction credits are markedly similar for these two films, both showing career highlights of our protagonists. Fun fact, LeBron and Michael both wear the number 23. We are quickly introduced to New Legacy's villain, Al G. Rhythm, portrayed by Don Cheadle. He's juxtaposed with Swankhammer, yes, that's his name, voiced by Danny DeVito. Each villain has their own motivation. Swankhammer wants the Looney Tunes as slaves for his amusement park on Moron Mountain to help counter sagging attendance. Algorithm wants recognition, believing if he combines LeBron's fame with his tech, he'll no longer go unnoticed. In New Legacy, Algorithm actually ends up playing in the game, unlike Hammer. In the original, we never visit the Warner Brothers lot, but it's front and center in New Legacy, where they use every chance that they can get to put in posters of other Warner Brothers properties like Joker and Aquaman. In fact, that's what I've seen as one of the biggest criticisms of New Legacy. The background Warner Brothers characters like White Walkers, the Mask, the Penguin distract from the story. In the original, the crowd is composed of all Looney Tune characters, and only 3 human characters make it to Toon World: Michael Jordan, Bill Murray, and the goofy sidekick character Stan, played by Wayne Knight. There's no such character like that in New Legacy. The crowd in New Legacy is almost entirely replaced by human characters. As LeBron is pitched Algorithm's idea of him being scanned into different movies, we do get a slight nod to the original Space Jam with the poster here. In fact, there are very few flat-out references to the events of the original. Probably the most obvious one happens during the Lola Bunny Wonder Woman segment, where Bugs Bunny tries to recruit her.
How often do you get to play with an NBA superstar?
Been there, done that.
This essentially confirms the two movies are directly related, plus we do get very brief shots of the small alien creatures who composed the Goon Squad in Space Jam. However, their team name in that movie was the Monstars. LeBron and Michael also have two very different takes on basketball. For LeBron, basketball is life, and he can't afford to take time away from the game.
It's just not me. And I can't afford to take time away from the game.
In Space Jam, Michael is the opposite. He's quit basketball in order to pursue a baseball career. One of the main differences between these characters is how they get transported to Toon World. In Space Jam, it's through a golf course hole as Michael Jordan is lassoed by Yosemite Sam. In New Legacy, it's the villain who transports LeBron into the server, where not only Looney Tunes World is located, but all of the Warner Brothers' sweet intellectual property. To name a few: Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and Wizard of Oz. One thing I do like about New Legacy over Space Jam is that they put the stakes of the story on LeBron much sooner than in Space Jam. About 20 minutes into the movie, LeBron is told by Al that if he doesn't win his game, he'll be stuck in the serververse away from his family forever. In Space Jam, it's the Toons who will become slaves and not Michael. Michael helps the Toons get out of this predicament, whereas in New Legacy, the Toons help LeBron.
What I'm trying to say is, we need your help!
Listen, I need your help.
It isn't until 4/5 through the movie a new deal is struck that puts Michael's fate on the line. Unlike Space Jam, when LeBron makes it to Toon World, he finds out it's only inhabited by one person, Bugs Bunny. The others have left after being enticed by algorithm into getting digitized, so Bug and LeBron have to scour the universe searching for their teammates. This never happens in Space Jam, nor do the scenes in which LeBron is placed in famous Warner Brothers movies. Another key difference is that when Michael first lands in Toon World, he's in his human form. In New Legacy, LeBron is in traditional 2D animation. In Space Jam, we only see Michael in animated form for a brief moment when Swankhammer warns what will happen to him if he loses, but for the most part, he's all live action. LeBron will later turn into his normal self when algorithm upgrades him and the Toons, resulting in the Toons given a 3D facelift. Both versions have their fair share of product placement, like LeBron's sneakers here, but Space Jam definitely has New Legacy beat.
Get your Hanes on, lace up your Nikes, grab your Wheaties and your Gatorade, we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the ballpark.
While LeBron navigates downtown Toon World, we'll see an Acme van. Acme is a lot more present in New Legacy than it is in Space Jam. There's even a reference to Michigan J. Frog with the Singing Frog Theater. We actually get to see him in Space Jam. As LeBron teams up with Bugs Bunny, he'll get turned into a basketball similar to Michael. There are some callbacks to famous Looney Tunes cartoons here, like the Rabbit of Seville or Long-Haired Hare, where Bugs plays a conductor. These old cartoons aren't quite referenced in Space Jam. LeBron and Bugs are able to commandeer Marvin the Martian spacecraft in order to round up the team. However, that's pretty much the extent of Marvin's role in the film. In Space Jam, he actually acts as a referee, and we never get to see his dog, Canine. Well, I guess we should get to the political part of the video where we talk about why certain changes or exclusions were made. Of course, I'm talking about the absence of Pepe Le Pew and the visual changes to Lola Bunny. Originally, in the Casablanca sequence, Pepe Le Pew was supposed to hit on Jane the Virgin actress Gracie Santo, kissing her arm and getting a drink poured on him because of his unwarranted advances. LeBron then walks over to him where he learns Pepe's love interest, Penelope Pussycat, has a restraining order against him, and LeBron says Pepe just can't go around grabbing other tunes without their consent. So the director and Warner Brothers just decided to cut that whole thing. It's kind of weird that they got rid of Pepe yet kept characters like the murderous Pennywise and the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange. You don't want to know what they did to women in that movie. Unlike Pepe, who was cut entirely, Lola Bunny was redesigned. In fact, they include an entire sequence where she competes in the Wonder Woman obstacle course, which seeks to showcase her strength over her sexuality. The constant hitting on by Bugs Bunny toward her in Space Jam has also been toned down. In the original, he literally gets hard like a piece of wood. In both versions, Bugs sacrifices himself so that Lola doesn't get hurt, but in Space Jam, he's rewarded for his sacrifice with a kiss. Oh yeah, you also don't have Foghorn Leghorn spanking George P. Dog in the background. A big addition to New Legacy is Gossamer. In the most recent Looney Tunes cartoons, he's a character who hunts down Bugs Bunny. We never see him in the original. On the other side of things, Al needs a team to battle LeBron and the Toons, and unlike Space Jam where Swankhammer's minions steal the talent of some of the NBA's best players, Al has these players copied and brought into the serververse as monster manifestations. The game announcers have also been changed. In Space Jam, the announcers are Hubie and Bertie from the cartoons, while in New Legacy, they're performed by actual sportscaster Ernie Johnson Jr. and the guy who kicked ass from Get Out. Granny is also in both films. Her real name is Emma Webster, and in Space Jam she's more of a cheerleader than a player. Unlike the original, LeBron's family actually gets sucked into the game where they watch the events unfold. It sets up a lot more emotional moments which the original lacks. However, I personally felt these emotional moments fell flat partly because the background was so distracting. All the BG characters made me easily lose focus of what was happening right in front of me. Did anyone else feel this way? We do get to see Yakko, Wacko, and Dot from Animaniacs, which was my personal favorite addition. The courts themselves are different in each movie. The practice court in Space Jam is a typical gym, while in New Legacy, it's in space. The real court where the game takes place is an arena in Space Jam, while in New Legacy, it's the futuristic court that even has a force field. Because in New Legacy, the game is based off Dom's video game, players can achieve style points and bonuses. That's why when the game ends, the score is 1042 to 1041, compared to 7877 in the original. Now, I gotta point out that the soundtrack in Space Jam is on a whole nother level compared to Legacy. Every song slaps. We got I Believe I Can Fly, Space Jam, Fly Like an Eagle. In New Legacy, we get this.
What up? It's Porky Pig. They call me P-Dub. double LG step to me, he don't want no trouble.
Minor difference here, but in New Legacy, the basketball is silver while Space Jam's is more traditional. By halftime in both movies, Michael and LeBron's teams aren't doing well. They're down by a lot, and it looks like all hope is lost. However, both versions have different ways of turning things around. In Space Jam, Bugs Bunny tells the team if they drink Michael's special drink, which is just water, they'll get stronger. In New Legacy, they get a pep talk from Michael Jordan. Well, not the Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan. It's unknown why the Michael Jordan declined to be a part of the film. Each team has a number of substitute players. My favorite for the Goon Squad is Kronos, but for the Toons, we actually get to see Roadrunner don the jersey and play, which, believe it or not, he doesn't get to in the original. With the Toons mounting a comeback, the final game-winning point is put in the hands of our two protagonists. However, they go about this win in two different ways. In Space Jam, Michael learns that he too can manipulate the physics of the world and uses this to his advantage by extending his arm in this super creepy fashion. Similarly, LeBron learns that he can manipulate the game world by glitching it. This also results in Bugs Bunny sacrificing himself, but it's okay, he's alive in the next scene. Although each film ends happily, the character arcs for Michael and LeBron are markedly different. Michael learns that maybe baseball isn't his thing, and he returns back to basketball. LeBron's is a bit more emotional, as he learns not to force his son into playing ball when his dream is gaming. Now, you might think that Bill Murray does not make an appearance in New Legacy, but here he is briefly in the end credits, which show the Toons living their best lives in the real world. In Space Jam, the end credits are simply filled with shots from the movie. Speaking of those credits, were you able to find the only actor to work on both the original Space Jam and New Legacy? That's Bob Bergen, the voice of Tweety Bird. Funny enough, in the original, he also voiced Hubie, Bert, and Marvin the Martian. They also spelled their wrong names in those credits. No clue why he didn't voice them in New Legacy. Life just be like that sometimes. But I want to hear which Space Jam you think is superior, the original 96 version or the one with King James. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and hopefully we can crown a winner. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to like and smash that subscribe button, and check out my other comparison video. For more bad takes, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.